Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today we're going to be looking at the SU-76I. Now, I know I've done a couple of sort of tank reviews over the last couple of days, but this is what happens when Wargaming surprises with tanks on the store. I'm trying to catch up with sort of standard reviews and that sort of thing, but here we are. So, SU-76I, Tier 3 Russian Premium Tank Destroyer, and in my opinion, an absolute little beast, especially when you are top tier. But let's have a quick look at it in the store to see what the prices are. Now, its Tankopedia listed price is 1,000 gold, and it's available in two packages, fully loaded and loaded. Fully loaded is 2,600, and you get 3 pieces of equipment: camo net, binocular telescope, and a tank gun rammer. You get a usual mix of shells, garage slot, 3 days of premium, and your ace op. Now, the sort of loaded pack is 1,800, which isn't too bad. It's 800 more, but you do get a garage slot, which is usually 300, and 3 days of premium. So you are saving, as it says there, 13%, and you get the ace op and a usual mix of shells on top of that. Now, what they are is basically captured, Stug 3 hulls and Panzer 3 hulls, and they basically took the turret off, welded a big box on, stuck a big gun in it. Well, it is quite a big gun for tier 3, and off you go. Now, the basic figures are 60mm of armour on the front, 30 on the sides, and 50 on the rear, but they never quite tell the whole story, do they? And, you know, that is quite a bit, actually. It's quite a lot for a tier 3 tank destroyer, and you can and will bounce a lot of shots when you're top tier. There are a few things that you do have to be wary of, and that's one of the keys to success in this vehicle, is learning what you've got to be scared of and what you don't. And the majority of tier 3 tanks you don't have to be afraid of from the front, because they will just bounce harmlessly off you. A lot of them have got sort of average penetration at 100 meters of somewhere between maybe 43 and 58, so even the higher pen ones will have a job getting through the front, and maybe the odd one will go through, but a lot of them won't. Now, let's have a look at the gun first, shall we? Now, it's got a 76mm, hence the name, 13.9 rounds a minute, 86 pen and 110 damage for your standard, 102 pen for your APCR, which is a bit underwhelming to be honest, with 110 damage, and your HE at 38 and 156, 2.10 second aiming time and 0.44 accuracy. Again, kind of what you expect from Russians, not brilliant accuracy. Now, traverse speed on the hull is 40 degrees, and the gun, for people that are interested, moves from side to side at 42 degrees a second. So you won't have much trouble tracking your targets, but it doesn't have a particularly wide gun arc. Poor view range, even for a tier 3 at 300 meters, and again the same for the signal range. I mean, let's just have a look at the standard SU-76I, just to show you what I mean about the gun. That one has a slightly higher rate of fire, but less penetration on your standard rounds at 78, but 120 for your premium, which is why I said it was that little bit underwhelming. But that does just have an engine power of 170, but then again, I think it is a lighter vehicle with only 25 and 15 for the armour. Now, things like the T70 will not, when I can get it, will not have trouble getting through your armour with 75 average penetration. So, like I say, learn what you've got to be afraid of, learn what you don't. Usually, enemy tank destroyers you've got to be wary of: Marder 2s, Pack 36s, you know, the FCM Pack 36 or whatever it is, the French tier 3 one, I can't remember the name of it now, it's just some crap. You do have to be wary of those, but a lot of the stuff, you know, in a tier 3 match, you can be quite aggressive with this and really get up close and personal. And generally 2 shots is all it takes down at tier 3 to kill something from this. So we've talked about the basic armour figures, but let's get into the modules and have a look at everything properly. In fact, no, before we do that, let's just have a look at the supplies. Well, it's 56 for your armour piercing, 2,400 per APCR, which is a little pricey, and 56 for your high explosive, but I find that I very rarely have to fire APCR in this thing, and it's got a 20% silver bonus and a 60% XP bonus, which is why it's one of my favourite Soviet crew trainers. Now, module wise, it's got a reload time of 4.3 seconds, its concealment is 0.36 while stationary and 0.22 on the move. Now that 300 horsepower engine is a fairly heavy tank, gives it a power to weight ratio of 13.33, so it does feel a bit sluggish to get going and sometimes up hills, but once you do get going you can get up to close to the 50 kph top speed, so it powers along quite nicely once you've given it time. Now it's got a reverse speed of 14 kph, which is pretty average, not the best, not the worst, so it's not too bad. Big old engine block towards the rear of the tank, and the engine can actually get damaged through the front as well, and I have had that happen to me, so that is something to be wary of. But if you can go almost hull down in this with the sort of gun shield and the slope to the upper superstructure, you can, well, you can bounce a lot of shots. And like I say, tier 4 matches play it more like a traditional tank destroyer. Tier 3 you can afford to be quite aggressive in this. Now you've got their tracks, you do have a couple of rectangular holes in them, so if you are trying to get through the tracks, that's the sort of area to go through. Radio down in the bottom of the hull near the tracks. Ammunition, couple of big blocks, one on each side, just towards the back of the superstructure through the hull. The other side does have a slightly bigger side profile to you, so that one might be a bit easier to hit. And your crew members, you've got the driver in the front by the driver's slot, just on the right hand side as we're looking at it, and then the other 3 crew members sat up in the superstructure itself. Now, armour wise, bit of a mixed bag to be honest. 1 to 20, which is typically the top of the superstructure and the engine deck, and also your tracks, which I'm assuming are going to be around 15 to 20 mil of armour. But also that gun shield acts as a bit of extra armour, so again, that's what I mean, if you can get sort of hull down in this, you're not too badly off at all. Now 21 to 30 is the sort of lower front plate, because it's got that big flat bit at the front. The sides of the upper superstructure, which do have a bit of a slope to it, but not too much. Your sort of rear upper plate is very well sloped, so you don't really have to worry about that part. But the sides of the tank are pretty flat, and if anything gets around the side of you, you are in trouble. And you have a couple of strips just at the sort of very top and very bottom of the back of the tank as well. Now 31 to 50, you've got a bit around your front drive wheel, which doesn't help from the sides, but it may help from the front slightly. You've got the lower plate proper, I would have said, and the upper plate, but again the upper plate does have quite a bit of a slope to it, and generally if I'm going to get penned through the front, it's normally through that lower flatter plate there. You've also got the upper part of the superstructure, and all around the gun mounting and sort of mantlet is 31 to 50 as well. But the upper part of the superstructure, like I say, is quite well sloped, so it does add to the effective thickness of that armour. And you also have a thin strip that runs all the way around the base of the superstructure, and basically the back of the tank, the back side of the tank if you will, is the 31 to 50 as well. So you know, I've actually bounced quite a few shots off the back of this thing as well. The upper part of the rear superstructure though is just the 21 to 30, and I don't know, I think I have bounced a few shots off of that as well, but generally from smaller guns. Now 51 to 70 is the flat part just below the gun that covers the driver's hatch as well, and just behind the actual gun mounting itself. So that's basically the armour figures. As you can see, it's quite a tough nut to crack. Now equipment wise, I've got a gun rammer on it, I've got a gun lane drive, and I went for coated optics because in tier 3 matches, like I say, I like to play this quite aggressively. I'm on the move and they're active all the time. You're not going to outspot any tier 4s. So I mean, it depends on how you want to play this tank. If you want to play it as a more traditional tank destroyer, you're going to bounce a hell of a lot of shots at this because you'll be at range, but you've got the power and the penetration to get through armour at range down at tier 3. Tier 4 you are going to have to play it cautiously, but like I said before, learn what you do and you don't have to be afraid of. Just have a look in the in here in the actual tech trees, just have a quick look at some of the tier 3s, have a look at some of their penetration. I mean, the BT7 for example, you can have a 37mm on that, 58 average penetration, so you could afford to be quite aggressive if you come up against a BT7. T70 not so much. So just have a quick look, learn what you can and can't go up against and go toe to toe with, but try not to let anything get around the side of you because you will be in trouble. And that 40 degrees of hull traverse does seem quite good, but there's a lot of stuff that's faster than that down here, so yeah, try not to let anything get around your sides. Skill wise, well, I'd use it as a crew trainer, but I'd say sixth sense, camouflage, possibly repairs, and something like maybe clutch braking or maybe off-road driving, and then after that, depending on how you want to play it, possibly go for brothers in arms, maybe green thumb, muffled shot. And again, it all depends on how you want to play this tank, because you can play it aggressively or you can play it more as a traditional tank destroyer. So enough of me rambling on. I think I've about covered everything, so let's try and keep this one a bit shorter and get into those replays. Right, so here we are for the first of the replays. It's a tier 3 match. It's Ghost Town Standard Battle. Now unfortunately I don't have any tier 4 footage to show you. One, I just couldn't get any. Two, as you probably know, I don't quite have the patience sometimes to play the traditional tank destroyer role and stay back, and I just haven't had that patience today, I'm afraid. And I've also been out doing a bit of Christmas shopping already, getting it out of the way. So, on a bit of a time limit today. Now I'm going to push up this western side, and while I'm doing that, I don't know if any of you guys saw the message I put up on YouTube earlier, and it's about subscriber platoons, which a lot of people have been asking me about recently. Now, what I basically put up, for those of you who didn't see it, was that if you see me showing us online, and I'm on World of Tanks, I'm usually available for a subscriber platoon, and if you want to send me a friend's request on the PlayStation, that's fine, and hopefully soon I will be getting a 360, and Xbox One as well. However, if you've seen me in a game on World of Tanks but I am showing us offline, then generally I'm going to be getting footage and I won't be able to platoon at that point. So there we go. So like I say, if you see me, I'm showing online, feel free to send me an invite. Now, something I did forget to mention in the garage, because, well, I'm back to normal and I'm crap, is that it has got preferential matchmaking, so you'll never see above tier 4 unless you platoon up with somebody who will. Now, as you can see, 2 shots was all it took to take out that guy, and this poor little Panzer, well, he didn't stand a chance. As you could see, he is not going to penetrate the frontal armour of this, and you can see what I mean about the hull traverse. 40 degrees does sound quite good, but it is a little bit on the slow side. Now, this isn't one of my best matches. It does show you some of the strengths of this tank. I basically decided to go up this side. Not many people from the enemy team did, and that's just what happens sometimes. That's just the way. Well, it's just the way things fall. You know, you make your choice, you take the consequences, etc., etc. So it just so happens that I went up this way. Not many people did, as you can see by the map. So I didn't actually get much of a chance to do that much damage. But I found artillery, and he's going to suffer. And it is nice that you can just one-shot artillery. Now I can't quite get a shot on that guy over there, but he doesn't seem to be doing much or pose much of a threat, so I think we'll leave him and come back. And I want to get some damage done, so I'll basically come into the town a bit more and hope that I can get to somebody before our team wipes them all out. They are being quite efficient. Now, after I put that message up, I did end up platooning up with a couple of guys earlier on. Kid Joey and Fish Chris. So I know I said that I was going to platoon up with the people that I took the notes of first, but this was more of just a spontaneous surprise thing, so I do apologise to those people. If you want to send me any invites, I should hopefully be on tomorrow at some point platooning, so feel free. Now, I didn't manage to get the damage on him, I just clipped his track, but I did manage to get a decent shot on that one up there, and that finished him off. And basically there's only one guy left, and it's that guy that I left earlier. I've not really been shot at, apart from that first one over on the hill, while the second guy killed. But you can just see the damage potential of this, but also you can see what I mean about it being a bit sluggish. There's the T2 medium that I left earlier. 1 and 2, and even if somebody else hadn't have hit him, that would have killed him in 2 shots. It is quite a good gun, although the enemy of these things is the FCM-36 Pack 40. They really are. They've got a faster rate of fire, and they do about as much damage, and they've got more than enough pen to get through frontal armour. 665 damage, came top of the table and got 5 kills in a very short amount of time. Fired 9 rounds, 9 hit and 8 penetrated. The only one that didn't was the one that hit that guy's tracks. But again, it just shows you some of the strengths and the weaknesses, and the fact that you can be quite aggressive with it in a lot of positions. Now, this match, spoiler alert, I do die. So let's get out of the way. But again, I've put this on just to show you how hard it is for people to penetrate this. Now, we did have a go in the SU-76I when I was platooned up. Unfortunately, the footage that I got, I'd forgotten on my end to switch off one of the things that records party chat, and it doesn't record other people's not party chat, including microphone audio, and I was jabbering away, and it does affect it when I do the replay, so I couldn't use that, unfortunately. So I do apologise to you guys. I was hoping to use that one. But again, I do apologise to people that I said I'd try and platoon with them first when I saw subscriber platoons. It was quite spontaneous, and I wasn't really planning on setting up anything like that. But again, like I say, if you see me online and I'm on this, drop me an invite and feel free to send me a friend's request. Now, I've just taken a hit from that VAE type B over there. He did manage to pen, and that sounded like it penned, but I don't think it did. That might have just damaged my tracks. And I'm not in a very good position. As you can see, I'm pretty much on my own here. Most of the team have lemming trained towards the bridge. So I was kind of hoping that they would at least be able to hold the bridge, and I will try and hold these guys off here. And I was going for tracer fire then, and that was quite a lucky shot, but I'm pretty sure there's something else across there. But as you can see, I've been bouncing loads of shots at this range. But in typical Russian fashion, crap gun depression, so I'm going to struggle to get to these guys, and the way they've positioned themselves, I can't get over to shoot at one without taking damage from another. Now the Chi-Hard did manage to get through with its first shot, but then it bounced. Now the little Panzer 1C's popping around behind me, and this is where you can see that bit of a lack of hull traverse. Yeah, so that's when my brain wakes up and actually reverse up against something, stop him from keeping going round me, pull back a bit, and now you're done, sunshine. And I've got just enough now that I've stopped him to keep up with him and put the last one into him. Now I've taken a couple of pens through the side from the T-46, but then when I get my front back towards him again, he just can't pen me and he decides to back off. But again, 2 is all it takes. And there's the bounces from behind that I was telling you about that you can take as well. T1E6PS, I know it's a little tier 2, but when you're in tier 3 matches there are generally a few tier 2s in it. Now that one, a bit poorly aimed, but it did go off slightly high, but I managed to get the second shot in, and that's when I get a shot from behind and the Cruiser 1 finishes me off, and I'm pretty sure he's using a howitzer, although I could be wrong with that. So that was more than likely splash damage that finished me off. But let's just skip to the end there and see how much damage I actually blocked, which is what I was interested in. Now, unsurprisingly, that was a defeat, but the team, as you saw, did crumble. But I managed to do just under 1,000 damage, 932, but I blocked 1,299 damage and got 5 kills. Now down at tier 3, that's a lot of damage to block. And as you can see, well, I received a hell of a lot of hits and a lot were non-penetration, so it just gave you an example of the toughness of this tank from the front and the back, but the sides are your weakness in this. And then we've got one more coming up for you where I do a little better. None of my best games in this, when I can get my words out. I hold my record for kills in this, which is 10, which I think you've seen I put up a week or so ago, I think. And I usually average around 1,000 damage a match in this. Not always, sometimes I don't do very well in it. I've been one shot by Arty in this. In fact, I think it was yesterday or possibly the day before I had a run in it. Got a couple of kills, got one shot by Arty, and that's just what happens. So you move on, don't you? But this one is a bit of a better round. It's more of an average round, and I think I've probably got more top guns in this than any other single tank that I own. You know, I've got a few in other ones, a few here, a few there, a few in my T-29. I do like that tank, but I'd say I've possibly, in fact I might have to check it out, possibly got more Top Guns in this than any other tank that I've got. And like I say, it is a fantastic little crew trainer. It's just good fun, absolute good fun. I mean, there's the Churchill 3 for the Russians does have the biggest crew XP bonus, but I just find this more fun personally. You know, other people like different kinds of tanks. It's all about finding what you like. Now I managed to get a bit of spotting damage there as well. I've done 3 myself and got my first kill. And I'm going to work my way around the edge a little bit and try and work the way down. I did forget to say what we're on before. We're on Mountain Pass, weren't we? Tier 3 match, standard battle. Now we're on Ensk Encounter, Tier 3 match again. Now, that was an AMX 38, and we all know how tough they are to get through. And this goes through it like butter. And you can see there, Tier 2s, it just eats them for breakfast. Now, I'm trying to get that T3 HMC, is it, through there. And the accuracy just trolled me a little bit, but that one did go through and I managed to take the kill. And there's a Panzer 1C, couldn't quite get him, and artillery is really raining down on me. They want to get rid of me. There we go. I managed to rack up 4 kills and I've only fired 7 shots. Now, I don't know, there's not loads of tanks that can do that sort of thing. Well, actually, having said that, oh, that was a close one. I managed to take out artillery and it nearly took me out in return. Well, yeah, having said that, there's not many tanks that can do that. There probably are, actually, thinking about it. Some of the other tank destroyers spring to mind. But I managed to finish off another one and we are dominating this match. And there's another little Tier 3 there, the Panzer 38T. And again, 2 shots. And in Tier 3 matches, I can't think of anything that you cannot 2-shot with this. So, not very far into the game. And, yeah, we've about won. There's one guy left. He is surrounded by our team, and I don't think I'm going to get to him to do any more damage. But I'm still going to try. Nope, there he goes. He's just finished off. But I ended that game with 7 kills, which isn't too shabby. So, nice bit of XP, nice daily double. It, like I say, it does get a decent XP bonus, and I ended that with a high caliber, a first class mastery, a top gun, and just over 1,000 damage done. Not much blocked, because most of it was from artillery. But there you go, that was a sort of pretty average game for me in the SU-76I. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's episode. I hope it's been able to help you make up your mind whether you want to buy this little beast of a crew training tank destroyer or whether you want to leave it. But as always, I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Don't know if it's going to be Battlefield yet. Maybe the ISU-122S, don't know. But as always, take care out there. I'll catch you next time and see you later.